our Genius community. And we're here for your questions. You know, go ahead and ask any questions. Why did you come to the training today? What would you like to learn? What would help you? We're going to cover the top 50 today, looking at the top 50, the top 50 choice in general overview, and we're going to show a couple of other things that I think that you'll like. We're going to look at the events calendar in just a moment. Let's go ahead and do that now. If you go to geniusbiofeedback.com and you choose the events calendar, you can see the different events that we have coming up. Today or tonight at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, we have our terahertz training. You can join right from the events calendar. And those of you in our business membership, we're going to continue our Quanta Capsule automation, our practice management for your Quanta Capsule system. If you're part of our business membership, that's included. And we're going to talk all about automated emails, the email templates, the lead pages, landing page templates. If you're thinking about starting a Genius practice, you may want to join. Check out our business membership. You can click right here to learn more. That's at geniusbiofeedback.com, and you go to our events page. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jeannie, for letting me know on the time change. We have to correct that. There was a conflict apparently with a different class or something of that nature, so we moved it to 9. And let me know, I'm going to put this in the chat here, a question here. Who would be interested in a 4 p.m. Pacific training time, which would be 7 p.m. ET? Is this a better time for you? Let me know. And okay, some people love the morning, some people love the afternoons. Hello, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got a great class ready for you today. And let's just go ahead and get back to this one. What's going on here? Let's go ahead and jump in here. We've got a little slideshow for you. Let's go from the beginning. That's so funny. Why is it doing that? Hang on here. All right. A warm welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. This is our weekly training. Everyone is welcome at weekly training. So you can invite any friends that you want. You just go to the events calendar and you can pick up the link at geniusbiofeedback.com. Click on the events calendar and you can pick up the link. You can invite anybody who's interested in the Genius and wants to learn more. We like to talk about the basics. We're thinking of having either a second training or another training in the afternoon. That would help people in Australia and New Zealand. If you like the 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, you can let me know in the chat. I really want to warmly welcome you, and I thank you for joining us for the 9 a.m. class today. And we'll be back at 4 p.m. actually for terahertz training for today, but we might do a different day if we're going to do an afternoon time for our weekly training. There are so few of those quantum biofeedback programs that have the kind of support and training that we do. So really proud that we bring you a free live interactive training where you can actually talk to the people who, you know, are bringing you the training about the Genius in the videos. You can ask us questions live and we can answer you. So I want to talk today about the top 50, really about the top 50 and the lower 50. We're going to take a deeper dive into some of the basics of the Genius. It's always really important to come back to the basics. We do have a combination of people who join us on the classes, which is people who have been with us for years and literally all going all the way back sometimes to 2014. Some of our folks have been with us for that long and they still come to weekly training, which is amazing. We have such dedicated people, and some people have just gotten their Genius in the last couple of days. So we want to really speak to all of our audience, all of our folks, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us Tuesdays at 9 o'clock Pacific. We're hanging out here for a while in our Tuesday, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock Eastern lunch break for our East Coast folks, and thank you for joining. All right, so what we're talking about today is the top 50, taking a deeper dive into the basics, top 50, lower 50. Let's review some things. The Genius itself works through voice analysis. It is a scanning software, so it scans your whole being, mind, body, spirit through the voice. Your voice has incredible stories to tell. The tonality of your voice, the intonation, all of the qualities, deep, high, all of these things about the voice. It's like your fingerprint is in your voice. And when we scan the voice according to our proprietary algorithm, we can tell a lot about the person's patterns. What we're looking for is patterns. If you observed somebody for an entire day, and then an entire week, and then an entire month, you would notice that amazingly people have patterns, and those patterns are actually fairly predictable. And in your voice, we pick up certain waveforms that tell us about your particular patterns. And it's very, very interesting how much we can bring in from that voice. In fact, when you're saying your A-E-I-O-U for that 15 seconds, it's listening to the voice and then listening to the voice again and then listening to the voice again. It's taking several different voice samples that it then merges together and comes up with the basis, basically the frequency or wave basis that it compares to other frequencies within the program. So your voice is interpreted as frequency. It's then compared to the other frequencies, like the ones that we see on the screen here: bladder, governing, large intestine, kidney, liver, small intestine. So, each one is tested, each frequency in the Genius is tested against your voice to see how much of a chemistry or how much of a connection there is. I've often said how much of a stickiness there is between your voice and that frequency, telling us if there's something there that we should be looking at. The real scan of, reds and blues are simply telling you, and this is hard for us to understand, but it's only telling us which frequencies we need today. Our red and our blue frequencies are the ones that are most needed by that person today. The red color, anything that appears red, tells us a story about the things that may be more recent, things that would be acute, things that would be superficial, things that often we can resolve very, very quickly, maybe just in a couple of minutes or in a couple of sessions. So that is typically represented by a red color, or I've often said things that are 600 or above. Okay, those are going to be reactive to a superficial degree. But the color red, you can associate it with acute, superficial, things like that. The color blue, that is going to be things that are much deeper. These are going to be things that have been around for a longer amount of time. These are things that are going to be things that are chronic or deeply entrenched. And these types of items might take maybe months of sessions to really resolve, because they're so, there's been such a duration of time that they have existed, or the conditions within the body have created this level of chronicity. The whatever is going on in the body, the processes are leading to maybe a deep adrenal fatigue. So when you see low blue numbers, like we see here, that lung meridian, that should stand out to you. You should take note of that, because there's no energy moving through that lung meridian. And so that is significant. So what do you do? Well, you may want to look at lung libraries. The paired item with lung in Chinese medicine is large intestine. So you may want to do some balancing in the quick zap up at the top, and maybe you just want to do lung and large intestine. Maybe you want to open up both of these libraries, lung and large intestine, and then also include the red and blue points within the meridian. So that would be another thing that you could do in your quick zap, or maybe down in your lower tray where you're just focusing. You're going to kind of wring out the energy of that lung meridian because you see it as very significant. If you can find something in the case which is like a linchpin, everything rests on that particular item. There's something so significant. What is it about lung? You could really stretch it out and take it. The lung represents grief. Are there any flower essences? Is there anything in the person's history that is about grief that is still locked in their lungs? Or is it more that they've just been somewhere where they had the fires and they've been breathing that air? Has that affected their lung meridian? Did they smoke in the past? You can kind of wring out that lung meridian information for all it's worth, because there is very likely something significant about the lung meridian. So if lung meridian may be about grief, you could go ahead and you could include lung meridian in the quick zap or in the lower tray, along with all the points for the lung meridian. And then you could add in the flower essences and see if any of those are related to grief. And then you could add in the emotions. You could do a total grief, session for that person. So blues are significant. Over the next week, I want you to notice more when you have something that is a low blue, like maybe it's under 20 or under 10. And I want you to start asking your client or looking things up about why that particular thing might be really significant. The numerical scores in the Genius go from 0 all the way up to 777. So 777 is a special number. It's a powerful number. There's a divinity within the number 777, and that's what the developer wanted to have as the upper part of the scale. So you can also look at things that are really high. What was the highest score for the entire program? You're able to look at that in the general overview. So that's another thing about where we're going with this top 50 and lower 50 on the items, is what is the very, very tippy top item at the highest red level? What is the very lowest blue item out of all the ones that you could scan today? Do you think that might be significant? Of course it is. And it gives you a sort of a window into, gosh, these most important items, the whole case might rest on that. If we could resolve that particular issue, we might be able to resolve the whole case. It's the 80-20 rule. Okay, probably 20% of the things that you could work on that are the most important for your client could possibly give you 80% of resolution of those symptoms. Okay, and just a brief update for those of you who are in our research project, and we're going to probably do a live webinar for our participants, and we'll probably do a live update for our general audience. And our research project is well underway. We're already up to week 3. People are doing great. Thank you to our participants. We're showing incredible positive impact for people doing their programs in just a couple of weeks. And we will report much more on that when our research project is complete. So we're very, very excited. So it's turning out that is quite relevant for people who do daily balancing for as little as 15 minutes a day. And of course, we'll have more detail as we get towards the end and wrap up that project. There is a terahertz class tonight. And if you want to come tonight, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, you can learn what I call the terahertz process. This is where we do lymphatic drainage points. We do key Chinese medicine points. We talk about how to combine your terahertz practice, and we talk with your Genius practice, and we talk about the power of red and blue light. So do join us for that. All right, so this is actually excerpts from our learning intensive. And what we want to do here is just review some of the basics and then get into our top 50 and our lower 50. And for that, we'll need a volunteer. If you want to volunteer, go ahead and put your date of birth. You can invite anyone, a prospect, somebody who's interested to get a scan. You can volunteer. We love to have people who maybe haven't gotten a scan before, but anybody can volunteer. So I just want to point out some of the basics on your Genius. At the top left right here, this is where you would log out. You never really need to log out of your Genius. You can always leave it logged in, and you really should leave it logged in. But when would you log out? You want to log out if you ever move to a new device. If you ever want to move to a different device, a new device, and you have a single access, you have to log out first. If you log out right here and you completely log yourself out, you should be able to log in seamlessly on the new device. However, Many people make a very common mistake, and it's very easy to understand. What they do is they simply delete the Genius on their phone or their old iPad, and then they try to log in on the new one. But that doesn't tell the server system that you're actually logged out. The only way to do this is to literally log out right here. If you don't, when you go to use it on your new device, it will tell you you need to pay for this access. And we don't want that to happen to you. So learn the basics, which is that this is a log out symbol at the top left. After your first scan, you can see all of your client records right here. And this is where you would tap if you wanted to do a new scan. When you have somebody's name already here, like say it's your name and you go back to the beginning, you can either load your results, and this is if your system crashes or if you turned the system off, you can probably get your scan back as long as your name is still shown right here. And then when you want to do a new session for a client or for yourself, but you want to do an entirely new session, you have to say continue with a new analysis. All right, so just a review of the basics as I promised. And for our new people, this is where we record our voice. And as I said, the voice is listened to several times. We're looking for patterns. We're evaluating the voice as a frequency, which will then be compared to other frequencies. So the evaluation of the voice is our voice engine. It's one of the most powerful things that we have. This is the miracle thing. This is the mysterious thing that scans you and knows you by your voice. We do also have a picture aspect. About 86% of the algorithm, which is evaluating you, is in the voice. So big portion of what's looking at you, knowing you, is in the voice. There's some that's in the picture. There's a lot of energy. Everybody doesn't understand that your energy in your picture is really powerful. There's a lot that you can pick up in the energetics of a picture. Remember, the Native Americans were very like, don't take my picture. I don't want my picture taken. They didn't want that energy to be captured. We just put our picture out everywhere, right? All right, so there's a lot of energy in the picture that can be evaluated. Then this first part of the program, when I say system overview, this is what I'm referring to, the very first part of our program, which is called the system overview. In our system overview, we have 27 wellness panels, okay? Within the wellness panels, you have those sub-panels like the glands, things that are in digestion, things that are in organs, and all of those little like sub-items within the system overview have something like 30 or more frequencies within that sub-library. So when you see the organs, liver, kidney, large intestine, and you tap or you select that item, you're playing a whole spectrum of frequencies that the developer has programmed in there. So the first part of the scan is body, mind, and biofield, which you've seen. And what you probably may have never seen is that when you tap the system overview one time right here, is going to bring you to a screen called the general overview. And this allows you to do two different types of analysis. You can scan all the items in your Genius, including your custom library. So libraries that are over and above those 27 wellness panels. You can scan them. And when you scan them, it'll basically stack them from highest to lowest. It's quite amazing to see. So then you can say, out of everything I have to test, what is the top item that I can look at today? And then you can see that. You can also remove or add the library. So here it's adding, but we could also remove them, and then would only scan all the items in the 27 wellness panels, which is probably, about 500 to 800 frequencies in total. So you could do a mini comparison, just the wellness panels and system overview, or everything that you have in all of your libraries. I mean, you're trying to do, this is a strategy of quantum biofeedback that looks over a whole host of information and says, let's scan all of this and then tell me what is the most important. Why do you want prioritization? Prioritization helps you to see what the body is communicating, the being is communicating. What is the most important issue that I need to look at? we can't possibly look at all the issues, right, that somebody has. It's very time consuming. But if we could get to the most important issues, right, it tells us something about that person. There's something very key to those high and low items. And if we work and wring out those high or low items, we're likely to make a lot more progress than sort of just, working randomly. Like, I think this might be important, or sounds like this could be important. Some of that will pan out for you, but the ability of the genius to objectively sift and sort through information is one of the most valuable aspects of quantum biofeedback. So we're going to look at this with our volunteer. Let's first see what we have in the chat. You can ask questions today. So if you have questions about something within the genius, even if we're not talking about it expressly, you can ask it, and I will do my best to answer it during our class today. If the power goes out and we have no internet, what is the best way still to use the Quanta and the Genius, asks Julie. Well, I'm not sure really about the Quanta capsule, and I don't know how often your power goes out. This is sort of more of a rare thing than a common thing, but your Genius has always worked offline. Your Genius will work in an offline manner. It always has, it always will. I don't think we have that capability for the Quanta capsule, so your Quanta capsule will not work in that way. But everything else should work just fine. Nicole says, I've operated the Quanta capsule offline. So good on you. That's fantastic. Okay. So Nicole, we're going to work with you today. So be at the ready with your microphone and camera in just a moment. Okay. I love the mornings. Morning is best. Either, says Connie. 4 p.m. works better for me, says Cheryl. 4 p.m. Okay. We'll probably get a 4 p.m. going. But we'll probably do both for a while. So we'll see who attends which one, but we don't have that scheduled yet so for now we're just Tuesdays at 9, but thank you for the feedback. It's really, really helpful. And part of the reason we've actually done the early one is for our UK friends, our European friends. Is the frequency of 528 still happening? We're going to resume that in the fall. So back to school, we'll be back to podcast. We're going to have some new courses that we're going to start talking about really soon. I think you'll absolutely be excited about how they will combine naturopathic information and the genius. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. What frequencies help to break down a benign cyst on the surface of the skin? Carolee, that's a good question. Okay, we're going to get to that in just a little bit. For now, let's go ahead and see if we can have Nicole come up and be a panelist so we can do a scan here. So give me just one moment. Welcome, everyone. So nice to have you as part of our class. Remember to ask your questions. What would you like to know? What things are puzzling you about the genius that I can answer for you? Oh, geez, Louise. Okay, let's see if we can get this going here. Okay, promoting you to a panelist so you can jump on there. Nicole, we're going to talk with you and we're going to bring up our genius. Our genius is going to be brought up on a reflector. So a reflector is something that you yourself can get. Oh my goodness, is it not cooperating? What's happening here? Okay, there we go.
I will unmute myself.
Yes, and we'll see. Yes, you can. Stop. Yeah. Okay.
Hi.
Nicole, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Tell us a little bit about how long you've been using the Genius for.
Since May.
And what have you discovered so far?
How accurate it is, how helpful. I have seen within myself and my family and friends a significant improvement.
Oh, that's really
in energetic
awesome.
Levels and in so many ways. So.
Oh, that's very exciting. And where are you joining us from today?
From Canada, from Toronto.
Fantastic. How's the weather there?
Beautiful, humid.
Is this summer something that everybody tries to get out as much as possible? Yes. Because, the winters are going to be a bit, you're going to be inside for some of it,
Yes.
All right. We don't want this on. Hang on just one second. We got the cameras in stereo here. Let's go ahead and quit that. We're trying to find the reflector here. That wasn't the reflector. Let's go ahead. The Apple TV, not the Apple TV. All right. So, and are you using it mostly for yourself, or are you also scanning family members?
I'm scanning family members, friends, and I actually I'm practicing now, so I have one member now.
You have a paid member.
Yes, a paid member.
That is wonderful. That is absolutely
and
wonderful.
and then
How did that happen?
so she did the trial. You know, I had such good results from it that I introduced it to my friend, and I asked her if she wants a scan, and she said yes, and right away she was able to sleep better through the night, and now I have two friends that are on the trial for 14 days.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you said here that you've operated the quantum capsule offline. I didn't know it worked in
Yeah,
an offline mode, so that's
it
really
did. I
powerful.
didn't have internet, and
Mhm.
I was what I mean is listening to the frequencies, not
Yeah,
necessarily. Yeah,
not
it's
necessarily
fine.
like importing them, but just being able to play them.
Yes, if I have them imported already in my playlist, I'm able to listen to them.
Okay, fantastic. Very, very cool. All right, let's go ahead now and let's record your voice. So I will record you saying your AEIOUs. I will start recording in 3, 2, 1. I'm recording.
AEIOU, AEIOU, Nicole, AEIOU, AEIOU.
Excellent. Okay,
I wasn't
fantastic.
sure if you wanted me to say anything like an affirmation.
No, just to record what you usually say when you're recording yourself. Do you
Oh,
have your
sometimes I'll
clients?
say like health, vitality.
Yes, you can, and you can do that. If you ever volunteer again, you're certainly welcome to do it. You can really say anything when you're recording the voice. There are special qualities to AEIOU that we're able to pick up certain tones, but you don't
Yeah.
have to. You can actually do anything with the
Okay.
voice. So let's go ahead and we'll get your picture as well here. And so this is a great example about how anybody can work on a Zoom and have success. You can work with people anywhere, all around the world, and have great success working with the genius because you can record the voice and picture, anywhere.
Yeah.
And you remember back to the pandemic days, a lot of people who are on here know that their practices picked up, whereas massage therapists and other folks, their practices diminished because they were restricted. People couldn't come in. So there's just a huge advantage to having this remote aspect, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Nicole, is there anything in particular we should look at for you?
I would say, well, I don't know if this is relevant, but this is something new that when I get, it's going to sound funny, when I get like bitten by mosquitoes, I get a horrendous allergic reaction to
Oh,
them,
okay.
which I
Okay.
didn't before. I mean, horrendous. It almost looks like some bites turn gangrene. It looks that way. I'm not saying they are. And
Okay.
so I'm kind of going through that right now.
Okay.
So,
We'll definitely look at that. All
yeah,
right. Well, let me look at everything and we'll come back and we'll talk with you in just a little bit. Is that okay?
that's fine.
All right. Thank you for volunteering
Thank
today.
you. Thanks.
Fantastic. Okay. It's really fun. Nicole just joined the business membership and we did some coaching and like you're well on your way. You're doing great things. So big congratulations to you, Nicole, for having your subscriber. Well, what a cool aura comes through, very heart-centered and very strong vital force. That is what you're seeing in that beautiful green color. And you also can read it like, you see how crisp it is, like a lot of clarity. So she has a lot of clarity going on in her life, things that she's doing. We see that just coming through so powerfully. This is more of a sign of like really strong vital force, like just generally like a lot of wellness going on here. We have a little bit of this ring, which is blue. That's going to be throat chakra. So maybe there's things speaking, authentic truth, communication. We'd like to see this maybe expand or get a little stronger. And then here, I don't know if this is the mosquito issue, or maybe the mosquito issue is related to a blood issue, circulation issue, maybe immune issue, maybe histamine issue, but something going on here. This is almost a little bit black and brown. So this is just kind of a thing more like interference, like static electricity. There's something there that we want to see clear up. So it looks absolutely Wonderful for starting aura for sure. Let's get into it now and talk a little bit about these results, and let's get into that general overview. Now remember, in addition to Carolee, you can put in your question here. I will circle back to our questions and answer as many as I can. Thank you so much for joining us on our Tuesday at 9 a.m. training. We're probably going to add an afternoon training on a different day. I really appreciate you joining me on the new day on Tuesday. Thank you so, so much. So we see electrical sensitivities, essential oils, organs, infection, energetic disturbance, sensitivities, and glands. So we can observe, this is coming up on our system overview at the top. And then we've got today's stress. Well, let's go ahead and take a peek at that. We'll include it. So we've got connective tissue, nutritional, acid, cardiovascular. That's interesting. Virus, bacteria, fungus, kidneys. So just a general observation is sort of very, very interesting to have to do with immune system, which is what I mentioned. And that kind of dovetails with the idea of being sort of very reactive to the mosquito, right? The histamine, maybe something from the immune system, maybe being a little bit overactive or sensitive. Okay, so then we've got things like, wow, there's a lot of stuff coming up. So that's really interesting, but I don't want to get too into the system overview, but I want to be very specific now. Remember, in order to get to our general overview, which is the only place we can really look for our top 50 and lower 50, we have to tap one time on our system overview. And you'd be amazed how many people will use this for years and years and years, and they don't even know that general overview exists. So let's go ahead and tap one time here, and then we're taken to our general overview. Okay, so it won't let us do this until we scan our custom library. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's good to know. We cannot proceed if we have custom libraries. We cannot proceed to our general overview now until we pre-scan these items. So very, very interesting, sort of a new feature here. The developer wants us to scan these first. He wants us to scan these first because he's going to organize them in our general overview. So he's going to restack everything in general overview. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And let's see now, we're going to go to, now let's try it again. One time, general overview. Now it's going to stack everything from high to low for us. So the biggest thing here is L5. So L5 is actually really outlined on our desk reference success cards. So desk reference success cards, what these are on these nice thick never tear cards with a little clip here. You get this all together. If you got the upgraded or higher, you can get them on the website. And they're summary cards that help you to quickly look up information that comes up on the Genius. And so you can very quickly go, oh my gosh, L5, what is L5? And then it tells you things related to L5. It's a quick reference. So we call them the quick reference, the desk reference success cards, helps you to really learn the information quickly. So L5 is in the lumbar or lower part of the spine. Okay, so you sort of see the spine, or where the spine would be right here. And the lower part of the spine, that's where you're going to be it's going to be L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, going all the way down the spine. And it's the lowest lumbar is L5. So L5 has two nerves that come off the vertebra itself, come out through the vertebral foramen. And what they do is they give nerve supply, basically electrical supply, to things that are mentioned here on your desk reference success cards. The legs, the ankles, the feet, the toes, the arches. It has to do with circulation in the legs. When it's out of balance, it could mean swollen ankles, cold feet, weak arches. The emotional connection is communication issues. Did we just say something about communication? Hard to accept pleasure and wanting to have more like joy in your life. So communication is up there, related with L5, because these are all sort of, connected to our mind, body, and spirit, our emotions. We always want to consider that. So we want to look at maybe our flower essences and see if there's a relationship there. Then it tells us spleen meridian, stomach meridian. These kind of have to do with digestion. Now, grief, that's interesting. So the top emotion is grief. The lumbar lymph nodes, that's kind of interesting because of L5. Dysbiosis, this is a gut. This has to do with the canine digestion. But you see, anybody could have dysbiosis. It could test the same frequency. This doesn't have to mean dog dysbiosis. This could mean person dysbiosis. So one thing that you could do is you could kind of find the things that seem very important. You could do a quick balance on them. Another thing that you can do is our top 50. So let's open that up. Top 50 right here. So we're going to go add top 50. This is going to take the top 50 items and add them to the tray. Except it's adding 50. Okay, we already had 9 items in the tray. Let's do this one more time. Let's do it from the clear, pure perspective of doing this exercise. So let's go ahead one more time. Let's add the top 50. And so it did only add 50 items. Phew. Now we're going to go down to the bottom. And to go down to the bottom, you can actually tap this another time, tap it a second time. And Angie says, I haven't heard of those cards. And we're going to try to get a link for you. Go to geniusbiofeedback.com and type in the word success cards, and you will be able to see them there. We'll see if we can come up with that for you as well. All right, so just go to geniusbiofeedback.com. And when you go to geniusbiofeedback.com, you're going to type something into the little search there, and it's going to say success cards. We're going to see if we can find that for you. Thank you for asking. And then we're going to go down to the very lowest part of the Genius. And this now tells us what are the lowest or low blue. So what is the energy of low blue? Compression. Energy is not moving. And so we want energy to move through the person's being, through the body. All right, here you go. Here's that link. We're going to put it in the chat. There's the Desk Reference Success Cards link. Angie, thank you very much for asking. I appreciate it. All right, so we've got that. Now, let's see, we've got a sheep fluke in the pancreas. So there might be a parasite in there. Then fulvic acid comes up really. Now this is testing with all the libraries in there. This tells us that the kapha pitta dosha has to be balanced. The lohitaksha marma has to do with the shoulder. This is an energetic meridian in Ayurveda. 5-HTP, the cytozyme, this is a supplement. Juglans nigra, that's for the kidneys, but it also has to do with digestion. So I see a lot of digestion things coming up here. Now we're going to take our lowest 50 items and we're going to put that into the tray. And I'm going to show it another way in just a moment, which is going to be to remove all the libraries and then test without the libraries. But for right now, we have 100 items. We're going to proceed. So this is something you can do. We're going to proceed to progressive insights. When we proceed to progressive insights, we're going to analyze, and it actually does another analysis, a very powerful analysis in progressive insights that says out of the 100 items that were important, which is the most important. That's interesting. It tells us now sodium excess. So I wonder, it's very easy with any type of Western diet to get a little bit too much sodium, but that might be affecting her more than it would affect other people because it's coming up to the very, very top. Maybe this has to do with the whole mosquito aspect. What happens with sodium is it affects the kidneys. So it's going to cause you, of course, to retain water, but it could stress the kidneys. When we do eat like sodium that's not from our food, then over the long term, it does affect the endothelial lining of our circulatory system, and that can diminish our ability to produce nitric oxide. So sodium and salt, all the things they say about Himalayan sea salt, which is like 99% sodium chloride, it's not really true, you guys. Very, very much hype. The best thing you could do is just get sodium through your food. You know, whatever sodium is in the food, that's all that you need. Processed food has a lot more sodium added to it. But it's interesting, that came up at the very top item. And it also could be maybe more sensitive kidneys. Glycolic acid, I know that has to do with skin. Somatostatin has to do with regulating digestion. An affirmation comes up, I'm powerful beyond my imagination. I love that one for you, Nicole. And we've got some radionic rates here. This is some type of an infective agent or pathogen. Spleen, this is spleen number 5. So that point coming up. And there's a lot of things that I'd have to look up here, but I am in touch with my powerful ability to innovate in this world. So out of all of those items that we tested, the one that came up here, I am powerful in my ability to innovate. 5-HTP, now that has to do with serotonin, which I think we just saw that. That's interesting. So serotonin levels coming up here to be balanced. Now the endothelium needs healing is really kind of remarkable. Now, the endothelium is the lining of your circulatory system. What we have to do is we have to take care of that lining throughout our whole life. And meat, dairy, eggs, sodium-free oils, they actually diminish something you'd never notice for years. But over time, it diminishes the ability of the vessel to produce nitric oxide to allow for good perfusion. Why do you want good blood perfusion in your body? Because it makes your skin look beautiful and young. It makes your brain able to think all the thoughts without brain fog, and it allows you to be very healthy in your circulatory system and your body. So endothelium needs healing. We may want to look at eliminating some of those things that I mentioned. Maybe the sodium might be the number one thing for her, but something about the endothelial lining needs healing. That's fascinating. Okay, another marma comes up, which is an Ayurvedic area. This is behind and below the ears. So this is sort of like a meridian area. There's something going on there where the energy is blocked, but we could run the genius in order to open up that energy. Okay, acuity, vibrational and spiritual. That sounds like her. Very, very much vibrational and spiritual energy. Vitamin C. This could just mean you need vitamin C, even though it says IV therapy. Grapefruit seed extract. Okay, so we saw a lot of things going on with the immune system. We saw potentially some pathogens, maybe some bacteria, maybe some gut stuff. So grapefruit seed extract could really help with that. Don't mind my reflector. It just poofed out for a minute. We're going to bring it right back. And so this is really fun because when you do the top 50 and the lower 50, and then you do again a scan and progressive insights, you're getting to the top echelon of the real priorities, and you're doing it in a very seamless way. Like, it's pretty easy to do this. So I love this because it's really communicating, all the major issues. And when you're balancing the major issues, you're going to make a lot more progress than balancing the low priority issues. So I like to choose the high items. This would be a great choice for exporting to somebody's capsule. You do top 50, lower 50 in the general overview, and then you move into the progressive insights, you rescan, and then you send to their capsule everything. By the way, Nicole, if you have a capsule, go ahead and send me the email for your capsule, and we can export these highest items. This is the upper echelon. This is the high items from everything in her scan, including the custom library. So is it likely to be very significant? Of course, very likely to be very, very significant information. We've got vitamin E. This is also for circulation. We're getting a theme of circulatory and sort of blood quality coming through in what she told us and what we're seeing in the scan. Now, she did a wonderful balancing. So let's pause for a moment and let's go back and see how the aura has changed. So let's go back to that original aura and let's begin the analysis again, looking how has this changed? What happened over the 1 minute? How did it change the energetic of the aura? Let's find out. Let's look. And what do we see here? We see that now the aura is moving to a different place. And let's see what we have. Very fascinating. Wow, this is really interesting. So I would say that we're working on the vital force. We're kind of expanding that energy. We're going to look at the before and after in just a moment. It's not as clear and bright. And to me, it tells me we're using some energy to sort of clear things. And we've got this little edge over here, which is sort of like yellow orange. It could be third chakra, solar plexus, but she is expanding her aura. And then look at this beautiful, all the brown and black is sort of gone. And then we're moving into this place of this purple chakra, which is third eye, pineal, real spiritual, real intuitive. And just wonderful. Let's go ahead and look at that before and after. That's a great experience with just one moment of balancing. And so we had this, and you're going to see it expand, right? But a little darker. She's kind of working out some things, but all of that brown is gone. Sorry about this. Let's go ahead and try this. Sorry, got the screenshot here. And then look how great that looks. So let's continue on. We're going to do a bit more here. So let's bring this back. And I probably have to move this again. Our reflector is not cooperating whatsoever. Let's see if we can get it to cooperate. This is the reflector. You can get the reflector at airsquirrels.com. We'll read some of your questions as well. Let's see if we can get this up and running. Okay, let me remember to do that export before I move on here. All right, so there we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we're going to go back to our screen and select our high items. Before we move on, because we're going to do something else. Oh, Nicole, do you have your Quanta capsule email? I'll need it in a jiffy, or we could just do another. Okay, there I do see it. Okay. So ND, there we go. And then we add that. Beautiful. And then we're going to send just our high items to her.
I think you put NC. You put the wrong. I think
oh, okay,
you
thank
put
you.
NC
Thank you.
instead of ND.
My typing skills. Actually, you know what I can do? I can copy and paste. Let's do that. It's going to be a lot more efficient. And so we're going to do that. There we go. Paste. And now we add it, and it should be beautiful. Does it say it went? There you go, Nicole. Okay, awesome. And she
Thank
said,
you.
yeah, thank you. How do you look at before and after aura? How do you access the first aura? The way that I access the first aura was by taking a screenshot on my device. So the Genius does not actually store that aura picture. You're going to want to take a screenshot of it and then email it to the person, put in the subject line before aura, and then you can send another one and email that subject line after aura. Okay, Rachel has a question. She says, hey, Rachel from NYC. I love it. Thank you so much for joining us. I have a question. Can you select only a few frequencies to send to the client's QuantaCap? Is that what the left column is used for? The left column is for something called the functional zones, and we can show that. It was a part of the program that was not, in my estimation, built out sufficiently to explain the information included in functional zones, but we can look at it in just a little bit. However, what we're doing here is we're selecting just the high items to send to their Quanta capsule. Now, Rachel, if you would like to uncheck all of these and then only check the ones you want, maybe you only want to send 10 frequencies to the Quanta capsule. So you just select those 10 items, and then those are the items that you send to the Quanta capsule. So you really can select any items you want, all that are high, medium, whatever it is, or you can just hand select these, and then those will be the ones sent to the Quanta capsule. So great question. Blanca said, would you send to the capsule only the high items? What about the low? So I kind of answered that. That is completely up to you, but remember the 80-20 rule. There's probably 20% of the frequencies that could get 80% of the job done for your client. So now, do more or less frequencies make the difference? It's energy, right? People could handle 1,000 frequencies. Well, I don't know. I would rather have that person's consciousness focused on the real prioritization instead of, just like, let's just put everything in the kitchen sink and send it to them. I think it's better, less is more, get to the point, send the frequencies that are most important. And I think that is way more efficient. Also, when your client receives a Quanta capsule export, they're going to look at their frequencies. They're going to be like, ooh, what frequencies did she send me today? And what you want that to really be is something that's not overwhelming to your client. So you want them to see, things like affirmations and maybe flower essences, things that are easy for them to understand, but also not too many. So I think a sweet spot is 30. I don't think you need more than 30 items. I don't think anybody's going to feel cheated if they get if they get 30 items, less than 100 or whatever. At 30 items, nobody's going to feel cheated. And we can look at 30 items in the Quanta capsule. I can just send this to, if we do the high items, and this is probably going to be more than 30. That looks to me like maybe about 35 to 50. So if we send them to my capsule, just to take a look, and I can have them here. So there we go. And then we're going to go ahead and send them. There we go. All right, so we can look at that, but that's the idea with the capsule. Okay, would you recommend that the client listen to 15 minutes twice a day for optimal harmonization? Sure, Betsy, that's always been the recommendation. What we're doing in the research project is 15 minutes per day, once a day, because we wanted to go with the minimum amount what people had, but over the years, we've really recommended 15 minutes in the morning. When you're brushing your teeth in the morning, client, remember you brush your teeth, remember to brush your teeth, right? That's when you're going to listen to your frequencies because that's a cue. And then you're flossing and brushing at night. That's another time to do your other 15 minutes. Okay, so now we want to go back to our system overview and we're going to tap one time here. Now we're going to do something a little bit different in our general overview. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to our main hold tray and I'm going to select clear all, and I'm going to clear everything from the tray. We're going to start fresh. Now I'm going to remove anything that was from custom libraries. When I remove that by tapping on this particular button right here, it is now going to remove anything that was in the custom libraries. What I want to do is I want to pare it down, and I just want to look at things that are included in the system overview, which is the 27 wellness panels. And this is just a preference. Like, I like to look at both and see if there's anything interesting that pops out in either one. Now, obviously, all the custom libraries gives you a lot more information, a lot more ability to kind of look at all the things up and down that could be going on. But I'm always just kind of curious. Okay, so we've got the spleen, grief, ginkgo. Ginkgo is another herb that opens up the circulation. So what is the theme here? Something is blocked or stagnant in the circulation. It comes up again and again. Okay, now we've got large intestine and lung. And remember, large intestine and lung are paired together. So that's interesting. We've got spinal energy, thoracic 8. That's in the mid back. So now I can go back to success cards, thoracic 8. Spleen, we saw spleen meridians come up, diaphragm. So breathing, breath, but also thoracic 8 is related to the immune system. Remember the overreactive thing she said about the mosquitoes and chronic viruses and chronic infections, which we saw come up in today's stress, and also some of the remedies that came up. So you guys, if you pay attention to your cases, you can start to see the patterns. This is what makes you either sort of an average practitioner or an excellent practitioner. Start to look, what are the things that you see the patterns here? Okay, then we've got a flower essence. So it tells us honeysuckle. So we can go back to our success cards and we can look up the flower essences. It also gives us a lot of other meanings and things to think about within the program. I think honeysuckle is about nostalgia. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, living in the past, clear this backward pull and ground firmly in the present. So, often our issues are because we're sort of brooding over the past or thinking about past events, or we're worried or have anxiety about the future. And it keeps us from being in the present moment, which is the most powerful moment we have for creation, for everything to happen. So this says, get out of the thoughts about the past, get into present moment. Then we've got maca, which is really about the endocrine system and energy. And we've got some emotions. Serine, that's so funny because we had the with the 5-HTP, but serine kind of calms the person down, but some neurotransmitters and the liver. Then we've got lung, connective tissue, lemongrass, parathyroid. Okay, we're going to take all of these. So out of the system overview, we're going to grab the top 50 items. Again, this is just the top 50 from the system overview. And we're also going to tap one time right here, and we're going to go down, and now we're going to be able to see the lower items. And another way that you can do this, I believe, is just this button right here, 0 to 100. We can have it go 0 to 100. Nope. Yes. Okay. It's working. Okay. Hippocampus. So now we see the energy of the hippocampus. That's in the brain. When we're stressed out, we can affect the hippocampus in a more negative way. So this gives us an opportunity to balance it. Clearing psychic attacks. I'm not a huge believer, but who knows, could be something, whatever it is. I like to clear that out. That's fine. Spleen meridian, we've talked about that several times. Gallbladder meridian, governing meridian. Meridian points tend to have a preponderance because there's so many of them, so they're going to tend to show up as, within this mix of priorities. So sometimes I kind of look past them. So we've got some emotions that would be great to clear. And then more spine. I got a lot of spinal energy stuff comes up. That's interesting. Some neurotransmitter stuff. Let's just quickly see if there's anything else. Some good emotions, cellular frequencies. So the electrical sensitivities. A lot of our healers, people in our tribe who are really aware, intuitive, we can get affected by those cellular frequencies more than others. Vine, essential oils, aloe, good for the digestion, cardamom, good for the digestion. So a lot, again, digestion and circulation coming up. Let's go ahead now. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the lower 50 items. So now once again in our tray, we should have 100. And we're going to do the same process. We're going to go in here, right here, and we're going to go to begin analysis. And now we're going to see from only the system overview, what are the high and low items. So now we've got cysteine, low beta, urinary bladder 33, lemongrass, cardamom, urinary bladder 62. So that urinary bladder, which is related to kidney. Remember kidney, the sensitivity to salt. Molybdenum. Molybdenum may come up when we have candida or heavy metals. Coccyx, governing vessels. Sodium, there it is again. Okay, a lot of meridian points, a lot of meridian stuff coming up. Let's see if there's anything else that seems. It's interesting, the things that we just saw at the top have come up again as a high priority, even in progressive insights, like those cellular frequencies. So now let's balance a minute of this in high priority, and you could also do an export of these high items to the quanta capsule. Okay, if affection is 771, what does this mean? That's a very good question, common question. When you see a positive emotion as out of balance, obviously we're trying to move that to a balanced place. So it could mean that we're trying to incorporate either being more affectionate, or maybe we're being too affectionate, something out about it, even the positive is out of balance. Often it means we're trying to move towards that. Maybe we're trying to be more affectionate or express it, but something about it is just out of balance. So even the positive things can be out of balance. And if they come up, high or low, there's a reason we want to put it in the tray. We're trying to achieve some type of harmony and balance for it. Is it possible to use the genius when there is no voice, i.e. unconscious, coma, mute? Yes, we did in one of our summits. One of our practitioners did that for somebody who was in the hospital and had an amazing result. So remember, first of all, you could have used a previous voice recording. That would be one choice. So if you have a voice, maybe somebody left you a voicemail and maybe they're unavailable, you could actually bring up that voicemail, upload it, and play it. That would be one option. You could definitely do that. You could also just use the picture. So almost everybody has some type of social media picture. So you could definitely use their picture. But yes, you can use the genius for someone where you don't have a voice. We use it for animals. We use it for children. People have used it for people in the hospital, people in a coma, and has brought up a lot of really relevant information. And we've reported after that, when they've come out of the coma, that they healed faster than can ever be imagined, and really attribute it to that practitioner that was utilizing the genius. So let's go ahead and let's see how the aura has changed. If there's a change in the aura here after 1 minute of balancing just with the general, with the system overview items. Would you show where you selected to remove the custom libraries? Okay, we can do that. Would you recommend, okay, we already did that one. Okay, good questions, you guys. Thanks for coming to class today and asking really awesome questions. Let's see. Whoa, we've got a total change here. Isn't that fascinating? We've moved into an orange energy, which is second chakra. So more creativity, maybe more vitality, maybe a restoration of that circulation. Things are starting to flow and move, and that's real strong. And we still have that purple energy on the outer ring. Let's look again at the before and after. So if we go here, we might have to move this. Okay, so where was the first one? This was the first one. You can see that kind of black and brown, but strong heart-centered energy. And then we kind of expanded, moved that heart energy out, And then we've got that purple ring, really about open intuition, wonderful pineal gland activity, and real crisp and strong and clear. And then we're moving here, and we're just going into this really interesting second chakra energy. And it looks fantastic. And then we've got more of that purple energy on the outside. But, you know, this almost reminds me a little bit of stagnant blood. And I'm wondering if it's like we're starting to get a lot more circulation, a lot more flow. So very, very interesting. Let's go back to our genius here. Now let's go ahead and bring on Nicole and see what she's been experiencing, how this information is landing with her as we've been going through this. Okay, Nicole, what are your thoughts?
Well, it is fascinating because everything that it picked up is accurate, because my reactions are only from the tailbone down on my legs and feet and ankles.
Oh,
If I get a bite on my arm, it's fine. Like it's just a normal reaction, but it really picked up. So it resonated with me. And for some reason, everything stopped itching on my legs because I had.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
Burning.
There's something. Yes, something is happening then. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's just, I'm in awe. You know.
I'm so glad. I'm so happy we got to do the, that you volunteered today and we got to work with you.
Yes, thank you. That's great.
Okay, Nicole, thank you so much. I'm going to send you another export, so hang on for that. We'll do that in just a moment. All right, Nicole, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that was great. Okay, it was really fun to have her as part of our class today. Wonderful. Let's go ahead, go back to that progressive insights, and let's go ahead and get those high items, and we can export them to the capsule. Once again, I'm going to do a copy and paste this time. Actually, just copying, and this works by Bluetooth from my chat, what you see in the chat there, copying it, and then I'm able to actually just paste it into my iPad through Bluetooth. That's a really nice Apple feature. And then we're going to go ahead and send it again, and so that goes to her Quanta capsule. So today has been a class really about working with the general overview. And let's just show that one more time. Who asked that question? Something about the general overview. Let's see where that was. Allison says, would you show where you selected to remove the custom libraries? Got it. Okay, so let's go one more time as we wrap up for today. System overview to general overview by tapping on it. It brings in the general overview. Right now, it automatically defaults to bringing in the library. So the libraries are here. And then what we can do is we can remove the library, which is right here. Add the libraries back in, remove them. So it's at the top right, Allison. Sherry says, I would like to export the high and low to the capsule in one export instead of having to send two exports. Yes, that's not something I can help you with. There's no functionality for that at the time. But I do want to say something about that, and that is low in this is not like high and low in the rest of the program. So your low items here are not the same as blue items in the rest of the program. Here, these are truly low priority. So I don't see any rhyme or reason why you would want to export those low items. It doesn't make sense to me. You're the practitioner, you can do as you wish, but these are not the same meaning as low, meaning there's no energy moving through them, as they are in the rest of the program. The reds and the blues, that applies. Here in Progressive Insights, it's different. This is truly the low priority. So I wouldn't find any interest in these. I would really just focus on these. So that's my perspective on it. But of course, anybody can do as they wish. We've always said, we show you how to use it, but you're kind of free to use it as you wish on the Genius. I want to do something a little bit different. I want to just rescan. Quick reminder that our rescan peels the layers of the onion and gives us deeper and deeper results every time we do a rescan. And we'll talk about that maybe in our next session. So I want to thank everybody for joining us for our Genius Biofeedback weekly training. I hope you join me tonight for the terahertz class at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, where we'll go over the terahertz process with lymphatic drainage, Chinese medicine points, blue and red light. And you can find that at geniusbiofeedback.com. Go to the events calendar. We're going to have new courses, and I'll be introducing new courses during the summer that we're going to be kicking off after Labor Day. So be ready for those. It's really going to help you to be a better practitioner and learn the principles of natural medicine. I can't wait to see you for those. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye for now.